Yup, just in case you guys didn't know, limited edition 1 million subscriber merch is still up on massedup.shop right now. It's only up for a limited time, so go get it! Attaway General, the TikTok hospital. You've probably already heard about it, you may have watched a video on it, you may have even watched the show. Not really sure why you would, but I've spent Sunday evenings doing worse things. I personally managed to only watch the show for the first time this week, and if by now you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this original series from a YouTube channel called Brat TV. And the reason it generated missed morning alarm levels of buzz a few months back is because it starred a bunch of TikTokers. And not some slouch ones who are only getting the part because of their job title, but actual jack fartload heavy hitters. Names like Dixie D'Amelio and her face-sucking partner at the time, Griffin Johnson, among other popular names. Now, I'm not exactly breaking new ground here when I say that the show's not great. Turns out TikTokers don't immediately make great actors just because they're famous. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, and you've probably already heard a lot of this, as well as other things being said about the show before. So I'm not going to dedicate this whole video to it. I'm just going to go through some of my most favorite and unforgettable moments from it so you can get either a nice little idea or a refresher on the type of series that this is. For one, there's some kind of weird stuff, just things that caught me off guard when I first saw it, like this little kid, for instance.
Chugga chugga choo choo. How about the airplane?
I would have clocked that kid right there. If you're not gonna eat that nice gooey food we meticulously prepared for you, maybe you'll like a nice knuckle sandwich instead. Guess it really is on Brat TV. Another thing with this series is that it is mercifully short, but it's bloated with stuff because of that, and the pacing is more all over the place than a victim of Jeffrey Dahmer. A great example of this is that after only 13 minutes of show have passed, Dixie's character, whose name I've heard dozens of times but managed to never learn, meets her love interest, flirts with him, denies him, and then decides to kiss him in the shed all before episode 3. All of that stuff happened in less time than it takes to finish a game of Black Ops 2. Also, you may have noticed me referring to this thing called the shed earlier. Well, it's basically this janitor/storage closet in the show, and they have characters go there whenever they need to give exposition, have them privately talk, make one of them be emotionally distressed, or anything, really. It was like the For You page. It could be whatever you turned it into. Also, unrelated, but I got that whiteboard finally. Another issue I took with the show, though, was when they say that you get the best care in the world here at Attaway General.
He's at Attaway General getting the best care there is.
Thank you.
But like I said before, there's people making out in the supply closet, and also the teen volunteers our dear TikTokers play were picking bloody arrows out of the biohazard room and giving it back to the patient they pulled it out of. You know, just normal doctor stuff. I'm sure that was at least partly meant as a joke on the behalf of the show, and it did make me laugh, just probably not for the right reasons. What did make me laugh from the series, though, is stuff that got thrown in for marketing's sake. Like when the main cast, minus their one friend who's getting treated for cancer, finds out that their other friend who's getting major heart surgery is okay. When the news comes in, they do, you know, the usual thing where they start TikTok dancing to celebrate.
He's gonna be fine.
It's really jarring. It was like the last thing I was expecting to happen. Now, I could get into the nitty-gritty of the show and dive deep into it, but I'll just wait till the second season to get into all that. Instead, this show got me thinking about a wider topic, one that I've thought about a little bit in the past. And that thing would be TikTokers and I guess social media influencer types in general expanding their horizons, moving out of our little video-producing bubble. With the Hype House slated to get their own reality show and the D'Amelios themselves having mentioned the idea in the past, I don't think the concept of this stuff has ever been more relevant, and the more I think about it all, the more it starts to make sense. It's by no means a new thing for YouTubers, Viners, and people on whatever social media platform that's popping right now to try their hand at something a little more professional. People like Smosh and Ryan Higa have had movies as early as the 2000s, and the way it usually goes is that it's people from this space trying to cross over to traditional media. But never before has traditional media been forced to sink down to our level, where for a change, the moving world has forced them to become more like us sewer dwellers. Eddie Burback has a great video on how late night TV was affected by the pandemic, other than making them downgrade their camera quality. I'd highly recommend that video if that's up your ass crack of an alley, but one of the points he made was about how the pandemic has forced late night to change. How instead of these elaborate sets with studio audiences and bands performing live music on stage, these hosts are taken to their living rooms, talking to webcams with their family literally in the room off frame, interacting and taking direct feedback from the audience and changing their content based off those interactions. It's something that in the past has only really ever happened on YouTube to YouTubers creators with YouTube audiences. You hear that? We have the power now. We're the Hollywood elites with too much unchecked social clout. And as Hollywood moves closer to being like its degenerate little brothers YouTube and TikTok, this kind of homemade feeling content gets seen by flesh sacks who were just like you and me, but flesh sacks who were also different, who wouldn't go out of their way to watch this stuff before. It's totally new to them, but it's made accessible because it's being made by the only person they get to see in their retirement homes, late night hosts. All of this stuff where Seth Meyers is sitting in his house cracking jokes to nothing but his camera also comes after a time where digital creators were just starting to make more common appearances on late night type shows. Whether that's David Dobrik or Ninja, not only does the content format get introduced to these new people, but so do some of the top personalities. All of this is also keeping in line with the trend that you can see across YouTube for pretty much ever. Just the gradual scaling of videos getting bigger and bigger, where the content that gruesomely burns itself into the most amount of eyeballs are typically the ones that are doing the absolute most. What, with Mr. Beast giving away private islands to do God knows what on, or the vlog styles of Logan Paul and David Dobrik, cramming as much high energy stuff as they can in one vlog, taking what would have been a full 10-minute merch plug in 2017 and turning it into just one segment in a 5-minute vlog today. The numbers some of these videos are generating are really comparable to what some TV shows are getting, in some instances surpassing them. It's been like that for a while, but it's happening on a bigger scale than ever right now. These creators are becoming as big and as culturally relevant as Disney characters. Some of the stuff these creators do is shit that was only ever possible in the past if you had a big TV budget backing you. And as these numbers keep getting bigger, there's definitely people from traditional media who are gonna see ways to try and move these viewers to other formats. For instance, that supposed Hype House reality show we were talking about earlier. The Hype House already has too much public drama as far as I'm concerned. I can't keep up with it. It seems like they get it in every direction. Up the ass, in the mouth, you name it, they've probably already tried it. Metaphorically. And the controversy they get themselves into gets insane views. They trend on Twitter all the time for it. T-channels get millions of views a day by talking about that shit. Sometimes I get views when I talk about it. You might not be in the audience that cares about this stuff, but think about the potential audience that does give a shit. All these beefs between people they were already super invested in, and now they get to see footage of it firsthand? They get to see all the crazy arguments that are played up by the editing too? Think about how much money I could have if I had thought of that. Now I'm sounding real optimistic about how this is some perfect storm of events for YouTubers to be doing TV, but it's not without its genital warts. For instance, just having numbers from videos you posted doesn't really mean you'll be good at all the other things that you'll try to do, or that those numbers will even automatically convert. With that reality show example specifically, part of the fun for some people is the drama occurring in real time. It's like getting to watch a dog fight where you call out all the commands, except the dog's not listening, and also it can't hear you, and also it's on Twitter instead of in a barn. And if that real-time sword fighting continued, then half the content that would be on the reality show would already be spoiled and there would be no reason to watch it. Unless they could advertise it as something like, never before seen or heard arguments, new footage, or just something gay like that. There's also the fact that some of the creators have followings bigger than Shaq's hands, so for a lot of these other creative endeavors that maybe they would want to try, they can just skip the traditional channels and do their content digitally like before, host it all independently. And for an example of this, I look no further than today's titular star, Dixie D'Amelio herself. While people on other social medias have been exploring doing things other than YouTube for a time now, in a lot of ways, Dixie is pioneering this stuff for TikTokers in particular. She obviously had the show Attaway General, she was the poster child of that series, appearing in most of the thumbnails talking about it, and the only person to be included in the thumbnail of every single one of the actual episodes. But on top of that, she has a song with 70 million views on YouTube and 30 million streams on Spotify. Out of all the TikTokers who are attempting it, she seems to be the one who's most aggressively expanding what she makes, and it really seems to be paying off for her. It makes sense that she's the one doing it too, because she's the sister of the person who blew up for all the dances, but apparently the dances aren't really the thing that she wants to do, so it makes sense that she's leveraging her platform to try other things. She's so big that she's in a position to try all of this new stuff, and she's doing a decent amount of it with competency as well. You could chalk that up to, again, having the money behind her, but still, whatever you think of the quality of what she's doing, she's the one out there in the field trying to do it. And with her success, there's probably a lot more people that are going to be willing to give creators who want to try their shots at new creative ventures a chance to do so. And I think that's dope. Even in general, though, it just feels like to me that creators have been more willing to expand outside of their comfort zones in recent years. Y'all know James dropped that Slowdown track a few months back. Just recently, my friend Luda dropped a song, and it's pretty good. You should check it out. Across the board, it just feels like YouTubers are trying their hands at more things. Whether that's music, acting, it doesn't really matter. A lot of them won't be good at the start. Hell, a lot of them probably won't be good ever, but I feel like this increased willingness to try is only good, because I feel like that opens up the potential for more great art to get created and put out into the world. I know we've strayed pretty far from the topic of TikTok stars in specific getting TV shows, but I feel like it does all kind of tie together. The same thing that is enabling these TikTok TikTokers to create some cringe web series that we can all have an emotionally detached dunk on, also enables creators to try things that maybe they've been passionate about for a while. Overall, I think people being able to work their creative muscles in new ways is generally a good thing, even if the thing they're making isn't good itself. Because maybe someday it will be. Until then, I will be making jokes about it. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe with notifications on. You know the drill. It's the only way I can guarantee your safety.
Also be sure to buy the limited 1 million subscribers Masked Up merch at maskedup.shop. Go get it!
Don't go out giving anybody I talked about in this video grief. It just doesn't help anything. You can follow me on Twitter at Kwite, on Instagram at Kwite.png, and on TikTok at KwiteTikTok. Anyways, this has been Kwite, and I will see you guys next time.